Rin sat inside the small transport ship, staring through the wide glass window as the stars stretched into silver lines. The ship moved through hyperspace, heading toward the Solari star system. It was his first mission outside the solar system, and even though he had trained for years, his hands still trembled slightly. He was a young engineer, not a soldier or diplomat. His job was to fix machines, not meet alien royalty. Yet somehow he had been chosen by the Earth Council to lead the repair of the Solari flagship reactor. The Solari were one of the oldest spacefaring races, famous for their advanced technology and powerful empire. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council only 5 years ago, and many alien nations still saw them as primitive. As the ship slowed down, Rin looked at the glowing planet ahead. Solara shined with rings of blue light surrounded by silver moons. The ship's pilot announced their arrival, and Rin took a deep breath. This mission would either strengthen Earth's place in the stars or end in embarrassment. The docking bay opened, and a group of tall Solari guards stood waiting. Their skin shimmered like crystal, and their eyes glowed faintly. They bowed slightly, and one of them spoke in clear English. "Welcome, human engineer Rin. The Queen awaits your arrival." Rin blinked in surprise. He had expected to meet a team of scientists, not the ruler herself. He followed the guards through shining corridors made of smooth white metal. Strange energy pulsed under the floor, lighting their path. The air smelled faintly sweet like flowers. Finally, the doors opened to a vast hall. It was filled with light, and in the center sat the Solari Queen. Her name was Azelia. She looked graceful and calm, her eyes bright as starlight. She wore a long robe that flowed like liquid glass. When Rin bowed awkwardly, Azelia smiled. "So this is the human who can heal a dying star." Rin felt his face warm. "I only repaired fusion regulators, Your Majesty. I did not heal a star." Her laugh was soft but clear, humility and skill in one person. "Now I understand why the council sent you." She stood and walked closer. Despite her alien appearance, there was something deeply human in the way she observed him, with curiosity, not pride. She asked many questions about Earth, about human emotions, and about why humans kept exploring even when it was dangerous. Rin tried to answer honestly. "We explore because we want to understand. And maybe because we hate giving up." That made her eyes glow brighter. "A strange species, humans. You survive not because you are the strongest, but because you never stop moving forward." After their brief meeting, Rin was guided to the royal reactor chamber beneath the palace. The machinery was massive, powered by glowing energy crystals. Yet the system had been damaged during a recent solar storm. If not repaired soon, the palace could lose power entirely. For 3 days, Rin worked non-stop. Solari scientists watched him silently, fascinated by his methods. He used simple human tools, not relying on automated drones. He explained each step, teaching them how to stabilize the fusion core using magnetic harmonics. The process was risky, and one mistake could destroy the entire chamber. At one point, the control panel overloaded. Sparks flew, and the power grid started to fail. Solari guards panicked, but Rin ran forward and manually rerouted the circuits. His gloves burned, but he didn't stop until the energy flow returned to normal. When the system stabilized, the reactor emitted a soft hum like music. The Solari engineers clapped their hands, their version of applause. Azelia herself appeared soon after, looking both relieved and impressed. "You risked your life for my people," she said. Rin smiled weakly. "I risked it for the machine, too. I do not like leaving a job half done." The Queen laughed again, and it sounded like crystal chimes. "You are truly human." That evening, the palace held a celebration. Thousands of Solari gathered under the twin moons, dancing in circular formations. The air shimmered with light energy. Rin stood quietly at the edge, not sure if he should join. Then Azelia called him forward. She spoke in her native language, but her words were translated instantly. "This human saved our heart. His courage kept our palace alive. Let all Solari remember that our strength grows with our allies." The crowd cheered. Rin felt embarrassed but also proud. For once, humans were not seen as weak newcomers. They were equals. During the feast, Azelia invited him to sit beside her. She asked more questions about Earth food, culture, and human creativity. Rin told her about oceans, music, and cities that glowed at night. She listened closely, her eyes soft. "You create beauty even in chaos," she said. "That is something my people lost long ago." Rin tilted his head. "Why?" she sighed. We mastered energy and power, but we forgot to dream. Your kind dreams even when it hurts. The night ended with music that sounded like wind through glass. Azealia thanked him again and offered him a place in her royal academy. Rin was surprised. But I'm only an engineer. There must be better teachers among your people. Azealia shook her head. None who see the universe as you do. I want you to teach my scientists how humans build hope. The next morning, Rin tried to contact the Earth delegation. He wanted to ask permission before accepting the Queen's offer. But communication channels were restricted for security reasons, and the Solari officers told him it might take days to connect. Meanwhile, Azealia sent for him again. She wanted to see how humans designed energy models using emotions. Rin laughed at first, thinking she was joking, but she was serious. In Solari culture, emotional energy affected machines. Happiness could make crystals glow brighter, while fear could weaken them. During one experiment, Rin accidentally linked his biosensor to the Queen's energy core. The device reacted wildly and a bright pulse filled the room. Both of them were unharmed, but the readings showed something impossible. A resonance between human and Solari life energy. Azealia studied the data with wonder. Our energies touched and formed a pattern. No two species have ever done that before. Rin rubbed the back of his neck. It must be a glitch. Human sensors are not made for your systems. But the Queen only smiled. Maybe the universe made no mistake. Maybe it wants us to learn together. From that day, Azealia spent more time with him. They worked side by side, exploring new ways to combine technology from both worlds. Rin found her intelligence remarkable. She learned fast and even started using human jokes. Though she often mixed the punchlines, every evening, they would walk through the palace gardens, where glowing trees swayed under the light of twin moons. Azealia often spoke of her people's history, how they once ruled through fear but were now searching for peace. She looked up at the sky and said, "We conquered many worlds but never understood them. You humans may teach us how to listen." Rin answered quietly, "Maybe together we can build something better than conquest." Weeks passed, and the Earth delegation finally contacted him. They wanted him to return, but the Queen refused to let him go yet. She told the ambassadors, "He saved our heart. Until my scientist can do what he does, I cannot release him." The Earth Council hesitated but agreed to delay his return. Rumors began spreading among the Solari that the Queen favored the human more than her own advisors. Some whispered that she saw him as a symbol of the new age. Others said she simply admired his bravery. Rin ignored the gossip and kept working. Yet he could not deny that Azelia's presence had begun to feel familiar. She was wise but gentle, powerful yet curious. Whenever she smiled at him, he felt something strange, a warmth he could not explain. One evening, after finishing another long session in the lab, the Queen stood at the window watching the moons rise. The light reflected on her crystal skin. She turned and said, "When I first met you, I thought humans were only clever survivors. Now I think you are something more. You remind the stars what it means to care." Rin did not know how to respond. He simply bowed his head and said, "Your Majesty, I am just doing my work." She smiled softly. "Then keep doing it, Rin, because every time you fix a machine, you also fix something in my world." That night, as Rin walked back to his quarters, he felt the weight of her words. The mission that began as a repair job was becoming something far greater. The Queen of an alien empire had noticed the heart behind human effort, and that might change everything. And far above, under the twin moons of Solara, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if the universe itself was watching what humanity would do next. Days turned into weeks after Rin repaired the royal reactor. The Solari palace returned to its shining beauty, and the Queen's empire was calm once again. Rin expected his mission to end soon, but Azealia insisted that he remain longer. She wanted him to teach her scientists how humans solved problems with simple logic and creativity. Rin was shy at first, but he began to enjoy his work. Every morning he stood before a group of Solari engineers, explaining human designs using glowing models on the screen. They found his methods unusual yet fascinating. Humans did not depend on instinctive energy like the Solari. Instead, they built tools and machines through trial and error. To Azealia, that was an art form of courage. During one of his lessons, the Queen entered the lab quietly. The Solari bowed deeply, But Rin continued speaking. He was explaining how humans used emotional control to prevent mistakes under pressure. Azealia watched him with interest and said, "You humans are fragile, yet you act as if you can shape the stars. That strength of belief is rare." Rin turned and smiled politely. "Belief gives us power when nothing else does." After the session, she invited him to her private study. It was a large room filled with star maps and old relics. The Queen sat across from him, pouring a glowing drink into 2 crystal cups. "You taught my people how to think differently. You have earned my trust," she said. Rin accepted the cup, though he was unsure if it was safe for humans. The drink tasted like sweet air mixed with light. Azealia looked out through the tall window and continued, "When I first became queen, I believed logic could lead us to peace. But I was wrong. Logic alone cannot heal hearts. Your kind has something my people lost long ago." "What is that?" Rin asked. "Emotion without fear," she replied. "You feel deeply but still move forward. That is what I envy." Rin lowered his eyes. "Maybe it is because we are always afraid, but we act anyway." Azealia smiled at that answer. For the first time, she looked not like a ruler, but like someone searching for meaning. She asked about Earth, about its music and stories. Rin told her about the songs that sailors sang while crossing dangerous seas, and about artists who painted skies they had never seen. She listened with growing wonder. "Humans make beauty even from pain. That is what connects you to the universe," she said softly. As days passed, their conversations grew longer. They spoke not only about machines and science, but about philosophy, friendship, and the purpose of life. Rin found himself looking forward to each meeting. The Queen had an elegant way of speaking, yet her curiosity made her seem almost human. The Solari ministers began to notice. Some whispered that the Queen spent too much time with the human. Others said she was learning dangerous ideas. Rin ignored the rumors, but he could feel the growing tension in the palace. Still, Azealia remained calm. She did not care what others thought. She told Rin once, "Let them talk. Every new truth begins with disbelief." One afternoon, a strange signal reached the palace. A storm of plasma waves was approaching the Solari moon where the palace stood. The storm was powerful enough to destroy satellites and disrupt energy systems. Azealia immediately ordered her scientists to shield the palace, but the systems began to fail. Rin joined the control team, working beside Solari engineers. He studied the readings and realized the magnetic shields would overload if not balanced manually. The Solari used automated controls, but they were too slow for the storm's rhythm. He turned to Azealia and said, "I can use a human-made regulator to control it directly. It is risky, but it might save the palace." Azelia's advisors protested, calling it madness, but she trusted him. "Do it," she said firmly. Rin connected his portable regulator to the main circuit and synchronized it with the Solari energy field. Lightning flashed across the sky as the plasma storm struck. The entire structure shook violently. Azealia stood behind him, holding the energy conduit steady with her own power. Her bright aura surrounded them both. The human device began to melt from the heat, but Rin held on. He adjusted the settings faster than the machines could respond. Azelia's energy joined with his through the circuit, forming a new kind of pattern. Together, they redirected the plasma flow into the moon's magnetic core. The storm finally passed, leaving the palace intact. When the light faded, Rin collapsed to his knees. The control room was silent except for the soft hum of the stabilizers. The Solari bowed in respect, realizing they had just witnessed something extraordinary. Azealia knelt beside Rin and touched his arm gently. "You risked your life again. Why do you keep doing this?" Rin breathed heavily. "Because I said I would keep your machines alive. That is my duty." She looked into his eyes and said, "No, it is more than duty. It is your nature." Later, the royal healers examined the Queen and found something unusual. Her energy signature had changed. It pulsed with a new rhythm, one that carried traces of human life energy. The chief healer hesitated to speak, unsure how to describe it. Finally, he said, "Your Majesty, your bond with the human created an energy merge. It is unlike anything recorded. It is alive in its own way." The queen dismissed everyone and called Rin to her chamber. When he entered, she was sitting by the window, her hand glowing faintly. "Your energy has mixed with mine," she said. "Do you understand what this means?" Rin frowned. "It means the machines linked our systems during the storm." She shook her head slowly. "No, it means our connection reached beyond machines. My body has begun creating a new life form. It carries both my energy and your essence." Rin stood frozen, his mind struggling to understand. "That cannot be. Humans and Solari are not compatible." The queen smiled faintly. "The universe does not follow our rules. This is something new, something meant to exist." He took a step back, shocked. "But how will others see this? They will think it is unnatural." Azealia rose and walked toward him. Her presence was calm, not fearful. "They may call it unnatural now, but one day they will call it hope. This child, whatever it becomes, is proof that two very different beings can create harmony." Rin looked at her hand, glowing softly. "Are you certain it is real?" She nodded. "The healers confirmed it. I can feel it inside me. A small spark that sings with two voices." Silence filled the room. Outside the window, the twin moons glowed silver. Rin finally said, "I never wanted to cause trouble. I came here to fix a reactor, not to change worlds." Azealia smiled kindly. "You did not cause trouble, Rin. You showed me the truth. Power means nothing without connection. Even our energy follows emotion, and our bond has created life. The stars themselves are watching this moment." Rin sank into a chair, unsure how to respond. The thought of being linked to a new form of life made him uneasy. Yet, when he looked at Azealia, he saw no fear in her. She looked peaceful, almost joyful. In the following days, the palace buzzed with quiet rumors. The royal healers tried to keep the news secret, but energy fluctuations around the queen made it impossible to hide. Her aura grew brighter, and the resonance between her and Rin became visible to those sensitive to energy fields. Rin avoided crowds and focused on his work, but everyone in the palace whispered his name. Some Solari called him a bringer of light, while others called him a mistake of nature. Azealia faced the council openly. She stood before them and declared, "This union was not planned, but it was born from trust and shared purpose. If the universe chose this path, then I will not deny it." The council chamber fell silent. A few advisors supported her, but many feared what it meant. The queen's lead minister warned her that rival empires might see it as weakness. Azealia replied calmly, "If love or unity is weakness, then I will gladly be weak." Rin stood beside her silently during the meeting, feeling the weight of her courage. He realized that Azealia was not just a ruler. She was a visionary willing to challenge the entire galaxy for what she believed was right. That night, she found him in the garden, looking up at the moons. She said softly, "Rin, you always wanted to leave once your mission was done, but now destiny has tied you to my world. What will you do?" He hesitated, then said, "I will stay. I cannot run from something that could change everything." Azealia smiled and looked at the glowing sky. "Then together we will protect this new life. Whatever it becomes, it will be a bridge between our kinds." The wind moved through the shining trees, carrying their words into the night. The stars above seemed to shimmer brighter, as if the universe had accepted their choice. Rin stood beside the queen, not as a servant or guest, but as an equal, facing a future that neither of them could predict. And for the first time, the Solari queen felt something no power had ever given her before. Hope born from the heart of a human. The news of the queen's unexpected child spread quickly, faster than Rin could imagine. At first, only the palace knew. The healers and scientists whispered in awe. The queen herself remained calm, walking among her people as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But energy fields do not stay hidden. Visitors, diplomats, and explorers noticed the unusual glow around the queen and Rin. Some of the Solari people began to talk, calling the child a miracle, a bridge between humans and Solari. Others were fearful, thinking it unnatural. Within days, reports reached distant empires. Rival alien civilizations began questioning the Queen's judgment. The human delegation on Solara grew concerned. Earth leaders worried about the potential for political fallout. Rin could feel the weight of it pressing on him. He had come to repair a machine, and now he was part of a galactic scandal. A council meeting was called. Azealia stood at the head of the room, regal as ever. Around her sat Solari ministers, human delegates, and even some neutral ambassadors from other worlds. The room was tense. One of the senior ministers, Vorn, rose and spoke. "Your Majesty," he said, his tone sharp, "this human has interfered with our natural order. Your child is not Solari. It carries foreign traits. Our people will see this as a threat. Other empires will exploit it. You risk everything." The Queen listened without interruption. When he finished, she stood and spoke with calm authority. "I am aware of the risks. I am aware of what others might think. But I also know that life and trust are stronger than fear. This child is not a threat. It is proof that cooperation and understanding can create something new." Rin felt a sudden surge of respect for her. She stood unshaken while dozens of powerful beings questioned her choices. She faced fear with courage and uncertainty with determination. Vorn's face twisted with anger. "This is madness. Humanity is still young. You cannot allow such interference to become a precedent." Azelia's gaze was steady. "If our fear of the unknown controls us, we are no better than the stars that burn without purpose. I will not hide what has been created by trust and respect." Some ministers nodded in agreement, though many remained silent. Among the humans present, the diplomats were relieved. Rin knew that without the Queen's courage, there might already be a threat of conflict. After the council, Rin met Azealia privately. "Do you realize what you just did?" he asked quietly. "You stood against your entire empire to defend me and the child." She smiled softly. "I realize something far more important. Humanity may be young, but it teaches courage not by power but by action. You, Rin, remind me of that. That is why I will not fear their words." Rin looked at her. "What if they attack us? What if other empires use this against us?" Azealia touched his arm. "Then we will show them the strength of unity. Fear cannot harm what stands together, and you, Rin, will help me show that." Meanwhile, Vorn was planning his own response. He believed the hybrid child could destabilize Solari traditions. He secretly gathered loyalists and began plotting to overthrow the Queen. His spies reported every movement of Rin and the healers, hoping to find a weakness to exploit. One day, Rin noticed something unusual in the reactor room. Minor fluctuations in energy fields were inconsistent with the child's growth patterns. He double-checked the readings and realized they were deliberate. Someone had tried to tamper with the energy network. He hurried to the Queen and explained the problem. Azealia frowned. "Vorn, he would not hesitate to strike if he believes he can undo this." Rin felt a shiver. "How can we stop him?" Azealia considered it. "We do not strike first, we protect and prepare. You will help me with this. Your thinking is not limited by fear, and that is what we need." Together, they strengthened the palace defenses. Rin designed a series of energy barriers using human logic, combined with Solari energy fields. The shields could adapt instantly to any attack, and the palace became nearly impervious. Despite the danger, the Queen refused to hide. She continued meeting the people, teaching them about the new life forming within her. She explained the child's importance as a symbol of cooperation. Slowly, many Solari citizens began to accept the idea. Children left gifts near the palace gardens, inspired by the thought of a human Solari child. Rin spent long hours in the lab with her, ensuring the energy patterns remained stable. They experimented with linking their energies deliberately. Rin discovered that the resonance between human and Solari life forms created a calming field. Plants grew faster, machines operated more smoothly, and even aggressive animals in the palace grounds became peaceful. One evening, Azealia turned to Rin. "The child is more than a bridge. It is a teacher. It will show our people that two beings can combine without conflict." Rin nodded. "I hope so. If other empires hear about this, they may see it as a threat. Then we will teach them courage," she said firmly. Vorn did not wait long. He attempted a direct attack. Using hidden energy disruptors, he aimed to break the palace shields during a ceremonial gathering. Rin detected the energy spikes early and alerted Azealia. The queen did not panic. Instead, she instructed the palace guards and scientists to respond. Rin guided the control systems, manually adjusting the barriers. Energy pulses clashed with precision, and the palace shimmered under the twin moons. Solari guards fought against Vorn's loyalists, but the human-designed shields protected the main structure. Azealia stood in the center of the hall, glowing with power, and extended her energy toward Rin. Their combined force pushed the attackers back. Vorn's plans were foiled, and he was captured before he could escape. After the battle, the healers confirmed that both Azealia and Rin were unharmed. The child's energy patterns remained stable, glowing softly with a new warmth. For the first time, many Solari witnesses realized that the child's creation had a protective purpose as well. The queen addressed her people. "See what has been done, not by fear or force, but by courage and trust. This is the future I choose." Rin watched, feeling a mixture of relief and awe. He realized that humans were not just builders or engineers. They could inspire, protect, and change minds through action alone. The Solari people now saw that courage came in many forms. In private, Azealia turned to him and said, "You saved the palace, Rin. You did not fight for power or glory. That is the greatest gift you can give a world." He shook his head. "I only followed the logic of survival." She smiled gently. "Logic guided you, but your heart gave us hope. That is why this bond exists." Rumors from distant empires began to shift. Instead of criticism, some races admired the bravery of humanity. Messages arrived, praising the human who helped the queen protect her people. Diplomats began to see humans not as weak newcomers, but as allies capable of incredible courage and ingenuity. Rin realized that the story of their success was more than just about survival. It was about demonstrating human creativity, bravery, and moral strength. The queen had known this from the start. She had chosen him not just to repair machines, but to show the universe that humanity had something special. As the twin moons rose over Solara, Rin stood with the queen in the palace gardens. The air shimmered with soft energy, and the flowers glowed faintly. "The world is changing," Rin said. Azealia nodded. "Yes, and you helped guide that change. The universe has eyes everywhere, Rin, but it also has a heart. That heart is what you revealed to my people." Rin looked up at the glowing sky. "I never expected this when I left Earth. I only wanted to do my job. And yet, by doing your job with courage and care, you have changed the galaxy," she said. The palace gardens were quiet, filled with light and energy. The child's presence inside the queen radiated faint warmth. Rin could feel it without touching, a reminder that life could begin even from unlikely circumstances. For the first time, Rin understood what humanity could mean in the galaxy. Not just machines, not just power, but courage, curiosity, and a willingness to face danger for the sake of others. That was their gift, and he had witnessed it in action. The night passed slowly, and the palace shimmered under the twin moons. Rin and the queen knew that challenges would come again. Rival empires might test them, and fear could spread among the people. But for now, the child was safe, the palace was secure, and humanity had earned a place among the stars not just as a new member, but as an example of hope and courage. And so, the galaxy watched silently as a human and an alien queen stood together, ready to face the future with trust, bravery, and a bond that no empire could break. Months passed in the Solari Palace. Rin continued his work, teaching the Solari scientists human methods and learning their energy systems in return. Each day he noticed subtle changes in the queen. She moved with a gentle radiance, and her aura glowed softly with life that was growing inside her. The palace was quiet, but alive. The twin moons reflected silver light onto the gardens, and the glow of energy fields illuminated the corridors. Every citizen who visited felt a warmth in the air, a calm that seemed to grow with each passing day. It was as if the life inside Azealia had already begun to affect the world around her. Rin often spent hours in the lab, monitoring energy patterns, but he also spent time with Azealia in the palace gardens. They walked among glowing plants and trees that responded to their presence, opening petals as they passed. Azealia spoke about her people's history, her voice full of pride and sadness. She told Rin that the Solari once focused solely on power, conquering worlds without understanding them. That had changed now. You see the beauty of life differently, she said one evening as the moons rose. Humans cherish fragile things. They do not take life for granted. You have taught me that. Rin smiled quietly. I only try to do what is right. Humans make mistakes, but we try to learn from them. She nodded. That is why your presence matters. You remind me that strength is not only in power, but in care and courage. One night the palace healers gathered secretly and informed Azealia that the child's growth had reached a critical point. The hybrid life form was developing quickly, displaying energy patterns of both human and Solari nature. They assured the queen that she would survive the process, but the final stages would require constant attention. Azealia called Rin to her side. You must stay with me, she said. The child needs both our guidance now. It is not only my life but also yours in a way. Rin hesitated. I did not come to be part of this. I'm only an engineer. How can I help? You can help by staying calm and thinking clearly, she replied. Your presence strengthens the energy fields. You have learned how to stabilize them. That is what matters. The following days were filled with preparation. Machines hummed in every corridor, shields were strengthened, and energy regulators were set up throughout the palace. Rin worked tirelessly, ensuring that every possible scenario was accounted for. Azealia moved among them, her aura shining softly as she focused on the child's energy. Finally, the day came. The twin moons hung low over the palace, casting silver beams across the gardens. Rin stayed beside the queen, monitoring energy levels as she lay on a platform designed to support her. The healers stood ready, their instruments glowing softly. The birth began gently. The child's energy pulsed like a small heartbeat, growing brighter and warmer with each moment. Rin watched in awe. This was unlike anything he had ever seen. Machines and fields reacted naturally to the life inside Azealia. The energy was balanced, a perfect mix of human courage and Solari harmony. Hours passed, and the palace seemed to hold its breath. The twin moons reflected on the windows, casting beams of light that danced across the walls. The energy inside the room pulsed with life, creating patterns that resembled stars in motion. Finally, the child was born. The healers held the small being carefully, and Rin saw that it glowed softly, changing colors like shifting light. The child's eyes opened, reflecting both the silver glow of Solara and the warmth of human emotion. Azealia held the child in her arms and whispered, Welcome to the world, little one. You are the bridge between worlds. Rin stepped closer, feeling a warmth in his chest that he had never felt before. The child reached out with tiny hands, touching his energy field, and Rin felt a connection unlike any machine he had ever worked on. It was pure and alive, a mixture of trust, hope, and courage. The healers named the child Luma, meaning light between worlds. It was a name that reflected not only the energy patterns, but also the hope that humanity and Solari could exist together peacefully. Word of the birth spread quickly. Some alien nations were skeptical, unsure what to make of a human Solari child. Others were amazed. Messages of congratulations and curiosity arrived at the palace daily. Scientists wanted to study the child, diplomats wanted to meet the queen and Rin, and ordinary citizens came to see the light that had entered the world. Rin remained cautious. He understood that the child's presence could bring both wonder and fear. He spoke to Azealia one evening as they walked in the gardens. Do you think the galaxy is ready for this? She looked at him, calm and confident. They will learn. Change is never easy, but Luma will show them what is possible. The child will teach our people the value of trust and courage. Life in the palace began to adjust to the child's energy. Plants grew faster, machines operated smoothly, and even small animals seemed calmer. Rin noticed that the energy patterns from the child resonated with human presence as well. When he was near, Luma's glow brightened and the energy field strengthened. Azealia observed this closely. You are part of this, Rin, she said. Not because of duty, but because your courage and presence help shape the child. You remind us that humans do not fear what is unknown. You embrace it and learn from it. Rin felt a strange pride. He had never considered himself special. He had only wanted to repair machines and help people, but now he realized that his actions had created something far greater than he imagined. Humanity had left a mark not just on Solara, but on the entire galaxy. As Luma grew, even for a few weeks, the child began displaying abilities that amazed the healers. Small tasks like controlling light and moving objects gently became possible through its energy. It was not dangerous, only curious and playful. Rin would watch in awe as the child reached out to touch the plants in the gardens, making them bloom instantly. Azalea laughed softly, the sound like crystal wind. It seems the child has inherited human curiosity and Solari harmony. A perfect combination, Rin smiled. It seems so. I just hope we can guide Luma well. Outside the palace, the story of Luma began to influence other worlds. Messages arrived from distant colonies praising humanity's courage and the Queen's wisdom. Children on other planets drew pictures of Luma glowing under the twin moons. Scientists began to rethink the limits of cooperation between species. Humanity was no longer seen as a young or weak species. They were builders, protectors, and creators of hope. Despite the positive attention, threats remained. Vorn, the former minister, was imprisoned but still had followers. Some alien leaders viewed the child as unnatural and potentially dangerous. Azalea knew she had to protect Luma and Rin while showing the galaxy that fear was unnecessary. She worked tirelessly with Rin, strengthening shields, building learning chambers, and creating safe spaces where the child could explore freely. Rin contributed ideas from human engineering, creating energy stabilizers that responded to the child's emotions. Machines and life were intertwined in a delicate balance that required constant care. One evening, Rin and Azalea stood near the palace balcony, watching Luma play in the gardens. The child's glow lit up the surrounding area, casting playful reflections across the water. It is incredible, Rin said softly. Even in a few weeks, the child brings peace and joy to everyone around. Azalea nodded. That is the gift of combining what is different. Fear weakens, but understanding strengthens. Luma is proof of that. The galaxy will learn from this one day. Rin realized the truth in her words. Humanity had reached the stars not just with machines and ships, but with courage and the willingness to understand others. The child was a living reminder of that strength. As the twin moons rose high, Rin felt a quiet sense of purpose. He had arrived as a simple engineer, tasked with repairing a reactor. He had stayed as a protector, a teacher, and now a part of something far greater. Life, courage, and trust had created something miraculous. Azalea looked at him and said softly, Rin, the child is growing strong, but it is also fragile. We must guide it. Our actions now will shape not only its life, but the future of the galaxy. Rin took a deep breath. I am ready. Whatever comes, I will stay and help. The Queen smiled. Then together we will build a future where our worlds are not separate, but united. And so, under the light of the twin moons and amidst the glowing gardens, Luma, the child of two worlds, began life as a beacon of hope. Humanity had shown its courage and creativity. The Solari had learned harmony and trust, and the galaxy had witnessed that even the smallest spark could light the way for all. The palace hummed with gentle energy, the air full of warmth and promise. Rin and the Queen stood together, ready to face the challenges ahead. The child glowed softly between them, a reminder that life could be extraordinary when trust, courage, and hope worked together. The universe was watching, and for the first time it felt as if it were smiling. Years passed in the Solari Palace, and the child Luma grew quickly. The hybrid energy inside the child became stronger each day, blending human creativity with Solari harmony. Luma's glow changed with emotions, shining bright when curious, soft when calm, and dazzling when joyful. Citizens and visitors alike often paused in awe, feeling the warmth of life that had never been seen before. Rin had grown older too. His hands had gained strength from years of work, but his heart had changed the most. He had become more confident, more thoughtful, and deeply aware of the importance of courage and care. He was no longer just an engineer. He had become a protector, a teacher, and a friend to the Queen and her people. Azalea remained radiant and wise. The experience of motherhood and ruling her people had deepened her understanding of leadership. She no longer ruled with only logic or authority. She ruled with compassion and courage. She often said that Luma had taught her more about life than any history book or lesson ever could. The palace continued to thrive. Machines hummed gently, gardens bloomed in harmony, and energy fields flowed smoothly. Rin worked with the healers and scientists, creating devices that could monitor and assist Luma's growth. These devices were unique because they combined human invention with Solari energy resonance. The result was something entirely new. Rin often watched Luma play in the gardens, floating lightly in the air, moving tiny streams of energy with the child's hands. Animals gathered around without fear, and even plants seemed to respond to Luma's curiosity. Visitors who came to see the child felt peace and awe. Diplomats from distant worlds began to come in larger numbers, eager to witness the hybrid child and the harmony of Solari and human cooperation. One day, Rin knelt beside Luma as the child floated slightly above the ground, trying to lift a small, glowing crystal. "You are learning fast," he said. Luma giggled, and the light around the child shimmered like silver waves. "You have human curiosity and Solari balance," Rin continued. "That makes you strong, but you must always remember to use your strength wisely." Azealia joined them, placing a gentle hand on Luma's back. "You are a symbol of hope, little one," she said. "Not only for our people, but for the entire galaxy. Your existence proves that differences can create something beautiful." Rin smiled. "The galaxy will learn from you, Luma. They will see that courage and trust are stronger than fear or hate." As time passed, news of Luma reached other galaxies. Messages came praising the human who had helped the Queen and the child. Scientists, diplomats, and leaders began to rethink the value of cooperation and understanding. Humanity was no longer seen as a young or weak species. Humans had demonstrated bravery, intelligence, and compassion. They could not only survive in space, but also guide civilizations toward unity. Even former skeptics in the Solari Empire began to change their opinions. Those who had feared Luma as unnatural now saw the child as a living bridge between worlds. People brought gifts and messages of encouragement, and artists painted glowing portraits inspired by Luma's light. Children drew images of human and Solari hands joined together, surrounded by stars. Rin watched all of this quietly, realizing that humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. The gift of courage, creativity, and care had shown its true value. Machines could be built and energy harnessed, but it was human spirit that could inspire others and bring hope. Years later, a distant empire tried to challenge the Solari. They sent fleets near the border, hoping to intimidate the Queen. Luma was still young but strong enough to participate in a demonstration of combined human and Solari energy. Rin and Azealia stood beside the child, showing the galaxy the power of trust and courage rather than violence. The fleets arrived, expecting confrontation. Instead, they witnessed the palace glow with radiant energy, Luma lifting shimmering streams of power, and humans and Solari working in harmony. The fleets paused, sensing the strength of unity. They realized that strength was not only in weapons or numbers, but also in the courage to trust and the ability to act for the common good. The fleet commanders communicated with the palace and were inspired. Messages of peace replaced threats. The event became known throughout the galaxy as the Day of the Twin Moons, the day when human courage and Solari harmony proved stronger than fear. Rin stood on the balcony with Azealia, watching the celebrations. "Who would have thought that a simple repair mission could lead to this?" he asked quietly. Azealia smiled. "It was never simple. You brought courage and care. Those qualities are stronger than any fleet. Humanity has shown that through you, Rin." Rin shook his head, laughing softly. "I only did what I could. The Queen made the rest possible." "You did more than that," she replied. "You taught my people to trust, to hope, and to see the value in life beyond rules and fear. That is why the child exists and why the galaxy now listens to humanity." As Luma grew, the child began to understand the importance of cooperation. Even as a young being, Luma could sense emotions and intentions. This allowed the child to calm conflicts and inspire understanding. Solari leaders learned to speak with care, humans learned to adapt, and together they built systems that balanced emotion and logic. One day, Rin observed Luma directing a small group of children from different worlds in an energy exercise. They practiced moving energy streams to lift objects without touching them. The exercise encouraged teamwork, patience, and creativity. Rin realized that Luma had inherited human courage, Solari balance, and a natural ability to teach. The hybrid child had become a symbol of hope for all species. Wherever Luma went, people felt calm, safe, and inspired. The child's presence reminded them that differences were not threats, but opportunities for growth and cooperation. Rin often thought back to the day he first arrived at Solara. He had come to repair a reactor, not to change the galaxy. Yet now, he saw that human courage, intelligence, and care could have an impact far beyond any machine. Humanity's place among the stars had been earned, not through force, but through action and trust. Azealia often joined Rin in the gardens, watching Luma play. "Your species has a unique gift," she said one evening. "You are not only builders and explorers, but also teachers of courage and hope. The galaxy will remember this." Rin smiled quietly. "I only hope we can continue to show that. Luma is a reminder that the future depends on what we do today." Years passed and Luma's abilities became more refined. The child learned to balance energy flows, assist machines, and even communicate with plants and animals. Visitors who came to the palace found that just being near Luma inspired calm and creativity. Humanity's influence spread through simple acts of courage and care. In the end, Rin understood that humans were not alone in shaping the universe. Cooperation, trust, and courage could bring together entire civilizations. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do, and the hybrid child had become the living proof of their potential. As Rin stood beside Azealia and Luma on the balcony, watching the twin moons rise, he felt a quiet pride. Not because of power, not because of recognition, but because he had seen the human spirit shine among the stars. He had seen how courage, care, and intelligence could unite worlds and create hope for the future. Azealia turned to Rin, smiling warmly. "You gave me more than a child. You gave the galaxy a reason to believe in humanity." Rin looked at the glowing child between them. Luma's light reflected in the silver of the moons, and he realized that humanity's journey in the stars had only just begun. The child was a symbol, a bridge, and a promise. The palace hummed with life, the air full of energy and hope. People of all species came to visit, inspired by the courage and creativity of humans and the harmony of Solari. Machines worked efficiently, gardens bloomed vibrantly, and the twin moons shone over a world transformed by trust, understanding, and bravery. And so humanity's new legacy was secured, not by conquest or weapons, but by heart, mind, and action. Rin had started as a simple engineer, yet he had become part of a story that would be told across galaxies. The story of humans who dared to care, dared to trust, and dared to teach others how to do the same. Under the light of the twin moons, the galaxy watched, and for the first time it seemed to shine a little brighter, as if smiling at the courage and hope of humans, the wisdom of a queen, and the promise of a child who carried both in their glowing hands.